Well, first I decided to buy just one speaker. I wanted to have only one speaker for my home, for my computer, and I wanted to have something with Bluetooth as well, so I could occasionally connect my phone to it. And I got this Denon 350, and at first I was really pleased with it. I thought I wanted to keep it, and after 2 weeks or so I started thinking, you know, maybe I actually want something different, and I decided that I want to now test Bluetooth speakers, however a pair, so I could have a stereo sound. And I got these AudioEngine HD6, and they're great. And then I started testing things. Now here's the funny thing, so in the end I've decided to keep these two, and I think I'm gonna get a subwoofer for it. But regarding the sound quality, there is a big difference between those two. And that's the funny thing. It's not necessarily that one is better than the other, they're very different. So now, why did I decide not to get this one? It's because of the latency. I don't want to keep it, I mean. The latency on Bluetooth, it's around 1.5 seconds. Ridiculous, you know, I press a button, even if it's a volume button, and then I need to wait until this reacts, and it's just ridiculous, especially if I want to check something quickly, fast forward, skip. It's super annoying. Even on mini jack, still there is some latency. Yeah, it's tiny, but I can see it, it's perceivable, so it may be annoying sometimes. Whereas these have brilliant latency. On mini jack or digital or optical digital cable is almost zero. On Bluetooth, it's imperceivable. The company claims it's 30 milliseconds, and really it's imperceivable. So this is really good. Now, sound quality. Now this is obviously very relative, different ears, different rooms, layouts, materials in the room, echoes, etc. So the big difference is that this is one speaker, so it will not have a super wide stereo image. However, I'm well impressed with this one. It does project sound quite well, so there is some kind of a sound stage, as they call it, so a bit of 3D effect, but nothing in comparison with this. You know, with these I can hear different instruments here, there, the vocals. Well, first of all, actually, when I listen, I'm in front of it, usually here, looking at my screen, so the vocals are usually coming from the center. Sometimes, this is the funny thing, when I listen to these, I hear sound or vocals or some other sounds coming from this speaker, from this place. So a few times I stood up to check, I put my ear there to make sure that this speaker is not playing, because it was so spooky. Now, are these, do they have any disadvantages? Do they have some drawbacks? Yes. In the sound department, they're lacking a bit of the presence. So this the higher frequencies, they have those tweeters, which are quite good, I think. But this one has got a lot of presence. I think it's got one bass driver in the center and one at the back, and then 4 tweeters around, so it gives it a bit more advantage. It's got 4 tweeters instead of just 2, so it's, imagine having 3 drivers would probably make a big difference to this one. So should you get a home speaker or should you get a pair? Well, that depends. Remember that speakers usually are meant to be listened to when they're kind of on the same level as our ears. So when I'm close to this one, the bass is really strong. When I'm further away, it's weak. Same with these. Now, the Which magazine from the UK, independent consumer magazine, rated this speaker very low, only 50%. They said the bass is too strong, and they recommended to turn down the bass to -4, which you can do in the app, but it's a bit convoluted to get there if you want to change it often. So I do not recommend this Denon because of the app. It's a bit not so good. Google Home is probably, the Google Home Max is probably much better option. You can buy it second-hand because Google doesn't sell it anymore. It's slightly smaller, it's 1.5 kilograms lighter. So this one is almost 7, Google is 5.15 kilograms or something like this. So still heavy. So this shelf is barely capable of holding this speaker. So if I move it closer to the edge when it sounds best, this shelf will actually start slowly going down. And keeping it against the wall, close to the wall, diminishes certain things. So bear that in mind. Now, Regarding these, the manufacturer says that they recommend around 6 inches minimum from the wall, but I've noticed that it doesn't matter, and actually when they are closer to the wall I perceive the bass to be better, bigger, wider, so I can hear it more. Maybe because I'm close to the wall and I'm directly perceiving the sound bounced off the wall, maybe, but if I move further back I think it's kind of similar. So they're good, doesn't really matter how far from the wall they are. What else? They support also digital optical connection. Now, why is that good? Well, for some people it will be useful. For me, I found it useful because I can go around the driver of my sound card, so to say. So if I have a wrong driver and I use mini jack, the sound might not be best, and that's what happened to me. I connected via the digital optical cable and there was a big difference. Then I installed the correct driver and the jack was okay. So then also what that allowed me, another good thing, I could swap between these two and this one just with one click basically. So I could compare the sound. Now, so how do they sound? Well, so as I said, this one has got better presence, so it might be better for some music, some songs, and these are better for other songs, depending on what they are and your ear. Another thing about this one is that I think they use some software to amplify it, to make the bass a bit richer. So the bass sounds really rich, really nice, but sometimes because of that is overwhelming, especially on some songs. And so again, that's why the Which magazine recommends to keep it on -4, and I think that's right. With these, sometimes the bass is lacking, but it's not because of the speakers. There are some songs that produce really amazing bass, strong, powerful, so they're not lacking, they're just more like a studio speakers. They're not studio speakers, but they're based on studio speakers technology, according to the manufacturers, whatever they mean by that. I think they probably mean that the curve is a little bit flatter, similar to speakers, and also they say they use the same quality materials. Wow. So now, what would I do now, knowing what I know? I think I would probably buy a smaller version of these, HD3, the much smaller, kind of like that. They have a headphone jack, which is sometimes which is sometimes useful. I mean, I have this interface that I use for headphones, but having another one, it's useful. Now, HD3, the smaller ones, they don't have the digital input, unfortunately. But again, I could then use the money that I saved, which is around 200 quid, and buy an extra subwoofer, which would probably be great. Now, I want to buy extra subwoofer for these as well. They're not lacking bass really, not at all. However, I want this deeper bass now, you know, and these, they don't need a subwoofer. This one is really powerful. Now, Which magazine recommends to, instead of buying this one, buying the 150 version, the smaller ones, and 2 of them, and setting them in the corners. But then again, they recommend also that it might be a better option to buy 2 Google Nest speakers, as they are quite good. The bass will be weaker on those smaller speakers, but when you have 2 of them, you have the stereo image. But then again, you need to decide whether you want simplicity, connectivity, whether you want Bluetooth connectivity, or whether you want to have everything on a jack. If you want to connect on the mini jack or digital cable, then not all those speakers have this option. And this is where I'm like, oh my God, it's really difficult to choose the right speakers. It really is, because there are so many options. And well, I am like an average bloke who enjoys good music. I'm not an audiophile, but I enjoy good music. I can appreciate it. So this is, and I'm almost happy. I just would like more bass and another speaker, like a central speaker with extra high end, maybe mid-range is probably okay, but probably the high end. So if I could have another small speaker with nice high end, that would probably be perfect. So basically this is it. If you have any questions, just ask me in the comments. I will leave the links to all those products in the comments, my affiliate links, so thank you for using them. And I really, I mean, I do not recommend this one because of the cost. It retails at around £550–600, and you can buy Google Home Max for like 250, so less than half the price. These are expensive as well, £30, so practically same price point. So again, I still would like a bass subwoofer for those, or buy a smaller ones and a subwoofer. They're brilliant. They're generally brilliant. I like working with the Bluetooth with them. If I connect my phone, start playing with Bluetooth, they immediately start playing the Bluetooth and stop playing other sources. Same with, I think if I play mini jack and Bluetooth, they can still play together, I can't remember. But with a digital, yes, with the digital cable, they need to swap, because Bluetooth and digital, they're using the same DAC, digital audio converter, I think it's called, yeah, so they swap, whereas with mini jack and Bluetooth, they can play simultaneously, which is interesting, you know. By the way, yeah, so I was testing, also comparing how it sounds from my phone and from YouTube Music and Amazon Music, and these sound more or less the same. So both from the computer and from my phone, they sound the same, so really good. They support the Bluetooth aptX or aptX HD including, which is great. This one doesn't. So again, my recommendation is actually, if you can, go to a store where they have those speakers and listen to them first. Many songs, listen to many songs, do it over a few days, you know, I don't know, every day for a few days, and listen to many of those carefully, because it's really difficult to choose the right one. And then if you bring them home, you will still, you know, you will hear something different, because your room has different layout, setup, echo, materials, etc. It's a really difficult choice. But anyway, I think a stereo speakers for a computer is a much better choice than a single speaker home speaker. I don't like all that nonsense, you know, like playing music, pressing some buttons. Oh yeah, I want to play from Amazon Music or some playlist or something, Spotify. Not for me. I want to be able to play from the computer, occasionally from my phone. This doesn't do much. These are great. So I'm giving it, I'm selling it or sending it back, and it's too expensive. I mean, if money is not a consideration for you, fine, you might be happy with it, but I think Google Home Max, you could buy two Google Home Maxes, and that would be much better. You can have one and two, would give you much better sound for the same money than just single one. But again, each to their own, okay? So guys, thanks for watching. Which magazine rated this for all sorts of sound, all sorts of types of music, 3 stars, whereas Google Home Max was rated 5 stars, and the Google Nest also was rated 5 stars. So big difference. They haven't got tests of these, so I don't know. I'm pleased. I want to believe that these are really good choice for me. Can't be bothered to look for speakers anymore. I probably will, but okay, thanks for watching. Take care.